to just give a beautiful reminder about healing. We don't really understand the power of healing until after the fact. We see ourselves in different phases, and we allow ourselves to go through so many different things. And unless we give ourselves permission to change, really change, and we go through different phases of change as well. Sometimes it's having to face, many of the wounds that we have to go through, and healing those aspects of us that we'd rather not look at, but we have to. We have to be in it and face it and choose from that space of those wounds where you want to go. It's really the only way to create wholeness and really sense the creator within us. Knowing that you're, as impossible as it sounds, indestructible, right? That's the part of us that we get to practice and we get to play. And as long as you're doing it with, pure intention to be a better version. And a better doesn't necessarily mean what social standards are. This is what humanity's waking up to, is that every time we associate words like better or perfection or power, we tend to, still have a bit of trauma there, because society has shown us many things of what standard is in those regards, and it's really not. Like beauty, the standards of beauty are changing dramatically. It's becoming more soulfully and more spiritually aware, more spiritually connected, soulfully connected, that we can't explain things sometimes, but we just know that there's something there we need to connect with. It's such a rich and tangible experience when you're with a soulful being than when you're with somebody that is superficial. And we're seeing the differences of the variations of beauty, and that's source creator. There's no judgment, but we get to go through that life process and we get to heal. Because if we're not healed, then we wouldn't be able to see the beauty in the soul. If we weren't healed, we wouldn't be able to understand what spirit is, and the essence of spirit, and the movement of spirit, and the feeling of how much life can feel. And we're reconnecting children with feeling energy and feeling what true entertainment is, and really get the children excited about true entertainment and being, a master at your craft. And that's what so many of the generations have lost, because, for 20 or 30 years now, we've been very disconnected from our spiritual creative experiences. From my generation and beyond, there were always, disconnected and distracted from our creative abilities. And it's everything. Our creative expression is everything to who we are. And the generations right now have lost a lot of that touch with it. Like, where is all the creativity? And you hear so much of it in the collective right now. There's disappointment in the music industry, disappointment in the movie industry. There's just no connection anymore to true passion, and that spiritual connection has been disconnected. And that's very worrisome. But we can get it back, and we just need to, pay attention to not having such a powerful connection to things that don't allow us to connect with one another in ways that is spiritual and soulful. And so don't have AI do everything for you, because, especially in the creative process, because that's how we heal. That is the portal to healing. It's the portal to that tangible source essence. You would never know how to get through an issue if you dumped everything and relied on AI or something else to do that for you. You have to go through that cathartic process, knowing that you can reach the other side by counseling yourself through it and giving yourself the affirmations and the love, and getting up and, putting on makeup and feeling good about yourself. And just slowly chipping away at the things that others had, built. I don't know, the insatiable race to be something else, and that's not ever it. I don't want to be somebody else's body. I don't want to be somebody else's hair or the way they do makeup. I don't want any of those things. I don't want to create something that's like anybody else's. My energy is different, and I want to really focus on that energy. When I focus on that energy, it just becomes more me, and then I feel more happy, and then I don't have to worry about, do I have a partner? Do I not have a partner? Because you become that energy yourself. So whatever perfection is, whatever beauty is, whatever, the completion, there's some people that think they can't get in a relationship until this, and this are completed, but they don't. You can build those things and you can go through those things together. You don't have to be in a completed perfect state, because that state may never appear. And again, your goals and your goalposts change. I think perfection is just understanding that you're in eternal growth with Source in every minute, and you can love yourself in every minute. That's beauty, that's perfection, and knowing that there's always going to be ways that you can love yourself. There always is. Love that you can just be okay with your body, even though it's not the way you've dreamed or imagined, because those projections were from a society that was not confident, that was insecure, that was building those projections off very unrealistic, expectations of what women should be and what goddesses should be, and what does a goddess really mean? It's encompassing a soul, the soul experiences that we've all been through there, that a woman can pick up and rebuild a home again and again and again and again, and how she just loves for her children to be safe in their rooms and their space, and knowing that they can create in the way they want to create. You just want to love them. If they choose to do whatever with their life, it's their journey with Source, and you're there to just give them as much information and support and love that you can, because it's their path, it's their journey. They're here to explore themselves within their body as Source. The only challenge is that none of us have ever been taught truly what Source is. Who are we, and what do we exist within? What's going within us? The more that we focus on this, then we show our children, yeah, there's more. There's so much more. I'm focusing on Source and who I am as Source, and I want you to explore all that you can as Source. And you'll always have somebody that loves you unconditionally. And sometimes your paths might separate for a little while, but you'll always know at a soul level that soul cord is always there with your children. And let them know that. Let them know that I'll never stop loving you and thinking about you, and I'm always empowering you to be your highest and your best, wherever that may take you, right? Because what matters in all creation and all realms is that there's a soul that loves you, and that love is transformative, and that love is undeniable and infinite and expansive, and it'll take you to places that all that density and all that alchemy is so worth it, and it changes you. Because when you do wake up feeling lighter and different, and you have all of a sudden your gifts turned on because you did the work, there's nothing that can take that place. You'll give up everything to be closer to Source. And then you choose better star mates and soulmates. You choose better food. You choose better ways to just be a little bit quiet, and not be so busy all the time. And healing it's just, no, I'm going to spend some healing time today. I really want that healing time. I want to feel good about myself when I'm with you. That's important, right? You want the best of me, right? So it's important. Our reality is waking up to the portal that healing is. It's the portal to your family's healing. And you have to choose that. Do I choose healing, or do I choose to keep being on the same merry-go-round and not focusing on a constant day by day? And not that, I think that the misconception is that when you talk about healing, the healing is never done. I don't believe in that. I believe that there's always those pinnacles, and there's always the peaks that you reach. You always reach a peak in healing, and you have to celebrate that. Like today I healed letting go of, some body dysmorphia. I let go of that, so that's a peak. So that healing is done. You have to be able to complete that and accomplish that. Otherwise, you're always left in a state of depletion. You're always left in a state of, I'm not done yet. No, you're always done. Like, you're always complete. You're always done. You're always whole. And there's different and deeper parts you want to love about yourself. So try and see healing as that way. It's not work, and it's not you're never done. Because there's a lot of misconceptions in the community right now about healing, and there's a lot of people that just say off the quip of their tongue without even thinking, you're never done, you're never done. Yes, you're always done, right? you're always at a done, completed state. Like right now, I feel complete. That means I'm done. And I can just continue in this moment right now. But you don't take on other people's speech so quickly until you figure out what it means for you. That's healing as well, right? We've been so conditioned just to accept what was. And the part of the challenge that's in the collective right now is humanity's awakening to how much control has been done and how much controlling agendas are out there. And the only way that you can not even pay attention to it, just release yourself from it, is by being fully you. And if you don't know who you are, you can get caught up in those traps really easily when you're not recognizing things on the internet as, bait and click experiences where they're wanting you to get your energy into their website and their page and different ways in which they do it. So just pay attention to that and focus on how do you claim your voice and how do you claim who you are as beautiful, and try not to, I know it's hard, it's easier said than done, but being done is also, not accepting others' comments and beliefs about you, because at the end of the day, you're in your own space with you, and it can be just you, and it can be beautiful, and it can be something tangible that you create with Source, and you're done, right? You're done being always unfinished. Like, I don't see there's a problem with that. I never agreed with that because it's so self-depleting. No, right now I'm done. I like where I am right now. I'm not gonna, put on my sweats and go outside and do another race. I'm satisfied, and that's presence. So I think we're finding our way around different versions and definitions so that we can go deeper with ourselves and be okay going deeper. Be okay having that space of, I'm happy with where things are right now, and find more ways to be grateful for where you're at, right? And also to the expectations. These, superficial expectations about women and people and however we had to look and be, when that really wasn't the best parts of who we were. It was those soulful parts of the stories that we have to recognize and bring forward and start telling in new ways. Start telling the life stories in new ways, and the stories about our bodies in new ways. Start being involved, start being the presence of these new stories. Like, no, I'm creating something really special from the soul that I am. I'm not sure where it'll take me, but, in every moment I feel there's a new level of done. I get this, and then I just get to create more. So don't allow the words to trip you up, and don't allow the definitions and the ways that humanity has been. Healing is always the portal, and it can be really magnificent, and it can be really self-gratifying and self-loving and self-appreciative. All these things that we were never ever taught. If we were, it was like, oh, you're so selfish, and oh, you're this. Yes, I am right now. Yeah, I get to be. Yeah, I'm healing from a lot of people's projections that I took on, and as a healer, we do take a lot on, and it's we do it so naturally when we're just going out and we're helping people and listening to people and just being the caregiver that people can't seem to find anywhere else. So I'm not sure why caring is so difficult. I was talking with that elderly gentleman, and he was talking to me about his end of life questions, and we were talking about the variations of elder care. And I said, well, why would it be called a care home and elder care if you're not having care? And he said, well, they only get paid for the basic duties that they produce and, their shift. And I said, but you don't have to pay someone to care. Caring is just a part of why you do the job. I was going to go into gerontology because I loved it. I love the concept of caring for those in certain circles and cycles of their life. And I actually took a gerontology class. I really loved it. But I was talking with him, and I said, well, isn't it strange that you'd have to hire someone separate from your care home to give you care? And I said, isn't that silly? Wouldn't you want to just be careful in your job? Isn't that part of being good at your job, is being careful and being caring and, having carefulness and all of these things that are part of the job as a healer and a caretaker? It's in your job, right? Caretaker. You're caring about taking care of people. But he said, no, they're just there for the actual tasks. And I said, so then it should be a task taker, right? So these various conversations about how so much, and again, it comes down to what we've talked about, is connection is just completely lost between humanity and spirit. We've disconnected from spirit. Church and state has everybody confused about all of these different religious beliefs as being God, and it's separated us in so many ways. It's brought so much discrimination in so many ways. And then when you come forward as someone that doesn't want to be defined, and you come forward as somebody that is more spiritual and soulful than anything, they have problems putting you in a box. And I said, well, who said I wanted to be in a box? Right? Like, whose decision in that is? Why are people talking on me, and why are people talking of me and speaking for me? You don't have that right. I am my own voice. I am my own version of God. I get to be who I am, and just have everything else follow suit, right? No, I'm not going in your box. But it's interesting how the jobs that we take is because that's a part of who we are, but now you have to pay people separately to come and care for you, to sit and have a conversation with you, and to sit and, go for a walk with you, or just listen to you, as they need that emotional connection and that emotional care. So it's very strange. I don't know, when you're in a relationship, do you have to say, you have the husband, but do you have to hire someone else to be caring? Caring is innate in who we are. I don't know why we would be separate from caring. I don't get it. But it's something we're all learning. And connection is how you care. Because if you didn't care, you wouldn't connect. When somebody reaches out, it's because I care. I mean, there are people, obviously, because I've just come from a complete dysfunctional, toxic experience where they didn't care. They didn't care how much they hurt you. They just wanted what they wanted. They were shut off from all connection. And they were only feeding the holes within them. And that's very dangerous, because they don't care who they hurt, and they'll do anything to cross laws and boundaries and rules. And the officials will be liable. And whoever was directing these cults and covens to be such weapons will be also liable. Because we do have human rights, and it shouldn't take decades for anyone to pay attention to me. It shouldn't take decades for people to see that I've been nothing but a caring person, and I've been treated with like an absolute, hunger machine for those that just want to abuse energy and abuse laws, and practice breaking women, You have to really truly go within and think about how distorted your beliefs are if you attack women, especially homeless women that have nothing to do with you, that have never met you, even if there was something done wrong, you still go to your heart space and say, well, common sense would say, no, I'm not going to go out and forcefully attack someone in covert ways that make you feel better about yourself. It's very disgusting. It's part of the psychology that is part of the healing it's been the most hardest. Like, I don't understand how people can be so horrible. How do people walk through their life every weekend with death plots? They actually sit and talk about it, and they organize it, and they pay for it, and they get all excited about it, and then they party on it, and I don't get it. It's horrible. And for men to feel so threatened in their lives that they want to take out a divine feminine because she has a unique way of being. It's like, really? That's how insecure you are about being who you are. So why don't you heal? The world's not going to bend to your corruption anymore and your lack of self. No, why don't you go heal? And again, the investigation that has to go deeper into that, I think that's why sources said there's more investigations going on, because these people that were organizing these things were people in official positions. So there was a lot of, abuse of power in many ways, abuse of information, of people's information being shared so that they can attack people and they can hunt people for their other agendas. It's very disturbing. But now we got to start putting things back together, right? Anyways, I just wanted to have that little personal comment. healing feels so good, and it's okay to pay attention to yourself, and it's okay to be you know, self-creating and self-designing. It makes for a beautiful world. And really just let your children know that you're just there to love them, and teaching them respect for, being loving, and showing that you have a devotion for love, you have a devotion for source, you have a devotion for life. It teaches them that respect as well. There's many children that have lost respect for life because they haven't seen that connection in any role model. It's very important that we present this connection to the children as being role models and people that have influence and impact. No, I have a devotion with source and life that's undeniable. I wouldn't be here otherwise. God has brought me through. God's created me indestructible. I'll get a new body. I'll get a new life. I'll wake up, and God just wants me in creation. And if God loves me that much, oh my gosh. If God loves me that much, how special is that? Nothing else matters. No $1 million plan or no $1 million business or $1 billion business or whatever. There's nothing more special than that. You cannot buy that. And you can only get there if you allow yourself and give yourself permission to heal and let go and feel what you need to feel and express what you need to express. Freedom of expression is everything. It's how we heal. So just go there with God. God's got you. Purity of heart, purity of heart, purity of heart, and practice your craft. Be your craft. What a beautiful impact you'll have on others. Sending you love and light, dear lighter ones. Donations and sessions. PayPal.me/Joanna L. Ross. And we'll see you maybe at 10:30. Bye.